The morning after Eala lost in the fourth round, the WTA called an emergency meeting. Not to celebrate the $42.5 million they made. Not to analyze the rain that wiped out 37 matches. Not to examine the sponsorship deals built on numbers that were already outdated. They called the meeting to find someone to blame. And they found her. A 20-year-old from Quezon City who had just outsold every other player in the tournament combined. What happened next left the entire tennis world stunned, and what it revealed about the WTA is something every fan of this sport needs to hear. Let's start with the numbers. Because the numbers are where this story begins. Before the 2026 Miami Open, ticket sales surged 48%. Merchandise with Eala's name on it accounted for 57% of all sales, more than every other player in the field combined. Broadcast ratings in the Philippines and across the Filipino diaspora shattered records. The tournament projected $47.2 million in total revenue. They made $42.5 million. A $4.7 million shortfall. And in that conference room at Hard Rock Stadium, the executives needed an answer for it. They chose her. The memo leaked within hours, marked confidential. Circulated among WTA executive leadership. And the language was brutal. The over-reliance on a single player's marketability created an unsustainable revenue model. When that player failed to advance past the fourth round, the tournament's financial structure collapsed. It didn't stop there. While Alexandra Eala's popularity is undeniable, her inability to convert that popularity into consistent deep tournament runs represents a systemic risk to WTA events that rely on her drawing power. A systemic risk. That's what they called the player who crashed their ticket systems. Who outsold every athlete in the draw. Who brought fans traveling from 3 time zones away just to watch her practice. A systemic risk. Here's what the memo didn't mention. On March 15, a complete washout cancelled every qualifying match and practice session. On March 18, 37 scheduled matches were cancelled across both draws. Venus Williams, Berrettini, Tsitsipas, Dimitrov, all left waiting for hours before the day was scrapped entirely. The financial impact of those cancellations? Over $2 million in lost revenue, not in the memo. The sponsorship policies that triggered payouts? They were written based on Eala's ranking of 29, before the tournament began. By the time play started, her live ranking had already dropped to 51 as her 2025 semi-final points expired. The policies were built on numbers that were already wrong before she hit a single ball. Not in the memo. The broadcast deals. Networks had paid premium rates assuming she'd reach at least the quarterfinals. That's not Eala's promise to keep. That's a contract the WTA signed without a contingency plan. Not in the memo. One sports economist said it plainly. You don't build a $47 million revenue model on the back of one player. That's not Eala's fault. That's basic business. Basic business. The WTA built a house of cards around one 20-year-old's tournament bracket, and when the bracket didn't go as hoped, they blamed the 20-year-old for the wind. The backlash was immediate. Jessica Pegula, I don't think it's fair to put that on Alex. The business side of things shouldn't be her responsibility. Coco Gauff, she's 20 years old. She's out there competing her heart out. If the tournament built its financial model around her and it didn't work out, that's not her problem. That's their problem. And then Billie Jean King, the woman who built the WTA from nothing, issued a statement. I created the WTA to give female athletes a platform to shine. Not to make them scapegoats for organizational failures. Eala is the future of our sport. We should be celebrating her. Not blaming her. When the founder of your organization has to publicly remind you what your organization is for, you have failed. The WTA walked it back. Issued a statement. Regret any misunderstanding. Fully committed to supporting our athletes. The usual language that means nothing after the real message has already been seen. The damage was done. The trust between the organization and its players, already fragile after years of scheduling controversies and ranking disputes, had cracked in public. Through all of it, Eala said nothing. She was home in the Philippines. Away from the cameras. Away from the chaos. Her management issued one sentence: Alex is focused on recovery and preparation for the upcoming clay season. She has no comment on matters outside her control. Outside her control. She played a 3-hour match against Laura Siegemund. She fought through a tight second set against Lynette. She stepped onto center court against Karolina Muchova, the Qatar Open champion, the 13th seed, and competed until the final point. She left Miami with 120 ranking points and the knowledge that she had given everything, and the organization she gave it to blamed her for their own miscalculation. But here is the part that matters most. The part the spreadsheet can never capture. She walked away calm. Not bitter. Not broken. Not posting angry responses or leaking her own memos or going on podcasts to air grievances. She said it herself just days before: opinions and expectations can change. That is not in your control. What I know are facts and truths. And the truth is I've been working really hard. Facts and truths. The fact is she outsold every player in the field. The fact is she filled courts that had never been filled before. The fact is she brought millions of new eyes to a sport that desperately needed them. The truth is the WTA didn't fail because of Eala. The WTA failed because they built a skyscraper on a foundation designed for a bungalow, and when the first storm hit, they pointed at the tenant. Now she turns to clay. Linz. Madrid. Rome. Paris. The red clay is where the Nadal Academy philosophy was built. Patience. Construction. Never surrender a point. The surface where her game breathes deepest, where a heavy topspin forehand and a tactical mind that runs 3 shots ahead of opponents becomes the most dangerous weapon in the draw. The French Open is coming. And Eala, unbothered, focused, still growing into everything she is going to become, is heading straight for it. The WTA needed a scapegoat. They chose their biggest star. The tennis world chose differently. Players spoke. Legends spoke. 115 million fans spoke, with their wallets, with their tickets, with their flags, with their 100-meter queues before the gates even opened. She is not the problem. She never was. She's the whole reason anyone was watching in the first place. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was the WTA wrong to blame Eala for Miami? Subscribe to Court Legacy for daily WTA coverage, match breakdowns, and the stories the scorelines don't tell. Because every day here is match day.